understand how all these people do the fucking YouTube, where they join people and shit.
I don't know either. Like, I mean, I have StreamYards, and on the other phone, it goes perfect, but the speaker, it's like it rattles and it doesn't work, so I can't go through that phone. But and then I downloaded like 15 different things on the computer, and not one of them is connecting.
See, that's stupid. They ought to make it where it's just like, oh, okay, you want to add somebody, click this button.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I've done a couple of different lives and never had this issue.
Yeah, me neither.
But this is live over here now, so I don't know if anybody will pop back on. But no. Okay, so basically, I have the one from Discover Satanism. He's on Messenger. I am not going to let the energies win today. But there has been a lot of Satanism bashing going on, and it's everywhere. And whenever people see crime scene photos, it's, oh, it has to be, satanic, or it has to be the occult. And that is totally not how it is. Those are just wannabes from basically what they've seen on TV. So I've got him on here so that he can explain a little bit about what actual Satanism is, and so that, everybody can realize we don't eat children and stuff. I was actually called a cannibalistic Satanist the other day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
see, now that's pathetic.
Yeah, it really is. But video, see, he's still on here. Hopefully you can be heard. But if you just want to go over it a little bit and describe basically, what it is that we don't do, I guess, to start off, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you for a fact what we don't do. We don't harm kids. We don't harm animals. We're all law-abiding citizens. We just happen to have a different belief than what is considered the norm, if you want to say. And we see things more in a real, today type of thing, rather than, oh, what's coming in the afterlife? We don't know. We can't.
Nobody knows.
So we live for the here and now. And, if you have a spiritual side to it, fine, that's cool. But, we're not pretending that we know what's going to happen after death.
Exactly. And that's the main thing. Like, with the whole community, we have plumbers, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have people that, yes, they do go to jail, they get DUIs. That's just being human. That is not because of the religion.
No, not at all. It's stupidity.
Exactly. And stupidity is the number one sin in Satanism.
Yes, it is.
So, like, I don't know. It's just like, I have friends, like, literally, almost every walk of faith that there is, and those that don't follow anything at all. And there's never any bashing. There's really even never any disagreements, because basically we just don't care. Like, you do you. But yet we get brung into everything that seems, so-called evil. We get brung into it. And crime scene photos, like, I've seen on a lot of them, and the West Memphis 3 for one, and the Delphi murders. They say that there's like non-secular items and all kinds of stuff there, but literally those are just everyday items that anybody could have.
Well, look at the Sharon Tate murders and everything, that like Charles Manson and his what you would call cult were involved in. They labeled that as as a satanic killing, and I can tell you right now that had nothing to do with Satanism. They were just nuts.
No, it didn't. And they were, I mean, other than the killings, of course, the fact that they lived out on their ranch and they, they did their drugs or whatever they wanted to do, but for the most part, they just lived life. Like, it wasn't really about any religion at all with them. It was more about peace and love. And then everything went crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was also a pissed off failed musician too. That's why he went, crazy. So
exactly. And so, I mean, it's just a whole matter of perspective, but everybody seems to lean towards the occult perspective when something goes wrong. And I was looking up some statistics the other day. I don't have them on me, but I can actually do a video about that later on. That there's over 80% of crimes committed by known Christians, and that's Christians as in any of that faith, Baptist, Catholic, like the whole 9 yards there. And then there was like 10% for like Muslim, and then there was only like 3% for like voodoo and stuff like that, and it was like less than 1% for Satanists.
Oh yeah, that's because we revere life. Why would you want to take life
exactly
from somebody or something else that is doing nothing to you but what their nature entails?
Exactly. And like, why would we want to go out and just harm people? Like, it makes no sense. We don't believe in certain things that would require for harm, like other religions. Sacrifice your son, sacrifice your brother. We don't do that.
No, not at all. And the way I see it, now it's different. Like if somebody's harming you, yes, you have every right to defend yourself, but you don't, just walk out and say, I don't like the way that guy looks, I'm going to beat his ass. No.
Oh yes, totally. And I mean, like pedophiles and things like that. Damn right, gonna make a doll or something. Put a stop to it.
People like that deserve whatever they get.
Exactly. But just because somebody cuts me off or runs a stop sign in front of me or whatever, it's like, as long as I can hit my brakes, whatever happens to them's on them. I don't have a reason to harm them. And a lot of people do not understand that at all.
No, they think that we're just like crazy, freaking devil worshippers, which we're not.
No.
And, that we just run like a hedonistic, I don't even know what you want to call it, but, it's where it's lawless. And majority of us, if not all of us, are very law-abiding citizens.
Exactly.
And a lot of us have high respected jobs and positions.
The other day I got told that I was conning people because I'm in college for my bachelor's in human services. I do a lot of other classes. I don't have a police record at all. And my normal job is working home health with the elderly and stuff like that. And when it came out that I was a Satanist, they told me that I was just putting up a front.
Putting up a front? That, I mean, just out of curiosity, like, the bad rep that we get, why would somebody want to put up a front that they're a Satanist if that's going to, screw them over and all kinds of stuff?
Exactly. And I'm sitting there like, oh, because I'm a Satanist, I can't have a respectable job. I am supposed to have a record of who knows what all. And it's just like, I can't be a normal, everyday, good citizen and be a Satanist. So either I'm lying about being a Satanist, or I'm lying that I don't have a record, which literally anybody can check and see for themselves.
Oh, right. And, same with me. I have no criminal history at all. I have a driving ticket from 4 years ago, probably. But, I've never harmed anybody. I've never been to jail. None of that. And I'm father.
Exactly.
So I take care of my child. I have a wonderful wife now who has basically adopted him. So it's like, why would I screw that up?
Exactly. And then, there is the whole kid thing that gets brung up, warping their minds and everything. And I've seen your son. He is the most respectable, loving, well minded individual that I have ever seen.
And the thing is, people ask me all the time, like, I'll give you an example. My wife's family, because she was technically adopted, but she doesn't consider them family, so she doesn't care that I say this. When they found out, they stalked my page and they saw videos with him in it, which I didn't make him do because, like I tell everybody, I don't raise him as a Satanist. I raise him to be who he is.
Exactly.
And they had basically said that I was indoctrinating him, which I think is child abuse. For any religion to force the child, who doesn't know any better, to do that. That to me is child abuse. And they also threatened to, so just so we don't get censored on YouTube, exile me.
Yep.
Just because of that. And then me being a Satanist, not because of my child. But then they also threatened her. And
hey, Wanda, how are you?
If she was with me, they threatened her as well, which isn't right because they don't know a damn thing about me.
Exactly. And I mean, it's not like Satanists wrap their children up in robes and put them on an altar to sacrifice them.
Exactly.
Wanda, can you hear my guest that I have on the messenger? Like, I can only get him on with sound. I can't apparently get him on panel. I'm just kind of making sure that he's being heard.
I hope so.
Me too, because if we have to redo this, we're going to redo this. it's just one of those days.
I got all night.
Yeah, I mean, I have to work around 4 to 7, which is coming up. Okay, she says she can hear you, so that's good. Okay. But I mean, I'm just gonna message my boss and be like, "I'm busy. I'm blocked in my driveway or some shit." Like I can get there when I get there. But and Wanda, yeah, this live that I'm doing is because of all of the bashing on religions that we see in pretty much every one of the chats that we kind of all bounce around to. This is just basically to clear up some of the misguided information that basically the media puts out on what Satanism is. There's a little disclaimer: we are not trying to convert anybody. We're not into that. And if somebody has a different opinion, we're not going to make a doll of you and stab you 100 times. But yeah,
that's for energy.
Yeah, like we don't do stuff like that. And like, I know you've seen in some of the chats where everything is always just, oh my God, it's satanic. And then, the whole respect religion issue gets brung up. But I did find this and I wrote it down. I want to take a minute to read it. It said, one of the most famous prolonged mass media scares in history, the Satanic Panic, was characterized at its peak by fearful media depictions of godless teenagers and the deviant music and media that they consumed. This, in turn, led to a number of high-profile criminal cases that were heavily influenced by all the social hysteria. Most people associate the Satanic Panic with so-called satanic ritual abuse, a rash of false allegations made against daycare centers in the 80s, and the case of the West Memphis 3 in the 90s, in which 3 teens whose wrongful convictions on homicide charge was based on little more than suspicious activity, such as their gothic lifestyles. At their core, satanic ritual abuse claims relied on overzealous law enforcement, unsubstantiated statements from children, and above all, coerced and suggestive interrogations by therapists and prosecutors. Some of the defendants are still serving life sentences for crimes that they probably didn't commit, and which likely didn't even happen in the first place. As for the West Memphis Three, they were released in 2011 after spending 18 years in prison, and their case stands as one of the worst examples of what happens when police and the public rush to judgment without evidence in the case. Many members of the public rushed to judgment over rumors of satanic or occult worship, and influence the satanic panic never really went away. It's alive and well today, and its legacy threads through American culture and politics, in everything from social media, political debates, and even family discussions at dinner. So, what makes a Satanist a Satanist? Is it wearing black clothes and listening to death metal music? Is it black nail polish and a tattoo of an upside down cross? Or perhaps a Satanist is someone who goes to the school and shoots up the place, taking lives in their path of destruction. Is a Satanist someone who wants to spend eternity in hell and they get their free ticket by becoming a serial killer that has to leave behind occult items in order for the devil to believe that they are evil enough to enter his realm in the afterlife? If anyone answered yes to any of these questions, then that is a prime example of the satanic panic still being alive and well. That was kind of pretty interesting.
And a prime example of somebody psychotic.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with their religion.
No, not at all. And when you mentioned the school shootings, that immediately brought me to Columbine.
Exactly.
And and I was like, those kids obviously. I'm not sticking up for them, but those kids were bullied. That's why they did it. They didn't do it because they were, Satanists. They did it because they were bullied and also psychotic.
Yep. And I mean, I'm totally against any kind of, school shootings and stuff like that. Like, I stand with the victims always. But sometimes the perpetrator is also a victim. It doesn't make it right. It does not take away what they did. But if people would stop judging and bullying and making all these accusations about people that are just a little bit different, then we as a society could cut down on a lot of these criminal acts.
Oh, absolutely.
And Wanda, she says, I feel like everyone has the right to believe in what they want. No judgment here. They say we live in the land of the free, but people forget that. That is
and I agree with that to an extent. Like we do have the right to believe what we want, but as far as land of the free, it's becoming less free each day.
That it is. I mean, right now it's not, back in the day it was color against color. And, and for the record, for anybody that watches this later, I do not promote any type of racism whatsoever. Like, I have videos up against that. But that was the main thing. And then when that started subsiding a little bit, it got to be manpower, men over women. And then after that, it got to be the community, the straight community against the gay community against the trans community. And now it's kind of like everything is tying in together and everything is satanic.
And now it's the woke community against the cancel culture community.
Exactly.
And I'm for neither one of them, because number one, you're not going to censor what I say. Number two, you're not going to cancel me because you can't.
Exactly. I mean, that's just like the whole trans erasure and stuff like that. Like, I stand up against that crap. And last year for Christmas, we had moved, and my husband had got deported and stuff, and it was like super crazy. And I went to the Salvation Army for the angel tree, and I had to put like that my husband had no income because he wasn't currently here. And they literally said, we only support traditional families. So, yeah. So, I mean, I found an amazing program that helped, and, we got everything done that way. But my kids was literally standing right there. And Samra was like, so what's traditional? She really wanted an answer. What's traditional? And the lady had no answer that she could give us that wouldn't, like, offend us or something.
Oh yeah, that's how they always are. And like the way I see it, obviously, I am a straight male, but I'm also an advocate and an ally for the LGBTQ community. And I've had, hell, me and my wife alone this year at Pride had gotten told, people that found out that I was a satanic minister and all that, they wanted me to come down to all these different pride parades in different states, and like people wanted to get married, and I'm like, sure, why not?
Exactly. I mean, I'm ordained as well, but I mean, I don't do anything like it's not a weekly thing for me. Like sometimes a wedding does come up, or they ask me to speak at a funeral or some stuff like that, but I am ordained both with Satanism and as pagan priest. And I get so many people just, asking me why I am willing to do like gay marriages and stuff. And it's straight people that's asking me, like, they are so offended because of my choice to marry who loves each other.
Exactly. And the way I see it, it's not gay marriage or straight marriage.
It's just marriage. Exactly. It's just being married. I mean, I don't care what relationship you're in. Somebody's going to be sassy. Somebody's going to be dramatic. Like it doesn't matter. It's just how it is. Like straight up.
I mean, hey, I'll give my wife credit. She by far is the best, most beautiful woman ever. But I'll tell you what, you get on her bad side, you're gonna wish you didn't.
Yeah, she keeps you in line, don't she?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's a good thing though. Like we all need somebody that's gonna do it. And the gender of that person that does it has nothing to do with it at all.
Exactly. It's how you feel about them, in your heart and everything. Like I look at her like the day I met her, it was like a friggin' halo went over her. I still feel that way.
That's good. Keep that. Keep that. The love will never die. But earlier in the other the other attempt at this, Alice had asked what made us go towards Satanism. So if you want to answer that now that you can be heard.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it started when I was about 13 years old. I'm now 28, and so I was in middle school, and I was going through a crap load of bullying, and just for the record, sorry if I swear a lot, I just do. But so I was trying to figure out and find ways, to like get through all this stuff. And like nobody's there for me, nobody's helping me except my mom. Well, one day I was doing research at school, and I found this book called the Satanic Bible. And I realized, oh, there's a bookstore right near my house. It's on sale for $10. So I went up to my mom and said, hey, Mom, I want to read this book. And just FYI, my mom is not a religious person. She actually kind of agrees more with Satanism than anything, but she's not particularly religious. So she, without hesitation, let me get the book. I sat up literally all night long and read it in one sitting. I then read it again, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm a Satanist. And I just quickly realized that, number one, if I don't take responsibility for my actions, nobody else is going to for me. Number two, if I don't do something about a situation, nobody or no thing will do it for me. And then number three, that this is all about me. And this is all about the people that I love and the people that deserve my time.
Yep.
And people that don't, blot them out.
Exactly. And Alice said, thank you for answering her question. And for me, for me, it was something that just kind of happened. It kind of a long story. I'll try to kind of sum up a little bit. But as in some of my past videos, I've said I've got three fathers. I have my biological father that I met when I was 14. I have my stepdad that pretty much raised me until the day he died. And both of those guys are amazing. But the one that's on my birth certificate, like, he's a total other story. He was a truck driving preacher because once he preached at somebody's church, they never asked him back. He would take me to places like Benny Hinn or Oral Roberts or whatever his name was. Like,
Nut jobs.
yeah, all of them. And I was about 6 years old, and he took me to Benny Hinn because I was too young at the time. I couldn't stop the visitations. So he put me on the truck and he took me to, who knows where. I don't even remember the state. But it was like this big auditorium filled with people there to see Benny Hinn. And honestly, I liked the music. I at the time, it was kind of a peaceful place. But he took me up on stage to be healed of my asthma. And there was a long ass line, and Benny would lay his hand on somebody and they'd fall to the floor and, start dramatically shaking and, speaking baby talk. And, like, I mean, apparently it was speaking in tongues, but at 6 years old, it was baby talk. And I got up there and I stood there while he was praying for me, and he literally smacked me in my forehead. And I guess he expected me to just fall with the crowd. And I was like, you're gonna let him hit me? And I, like, made this huge ass scene up on stage in front of, like, I don't know, 3,000 people that was in that auditorium. And on the way back home, I kept asking him, so why did we do that? Why did he hit me? And he's like, oh, that was the power of the Lord. That was love and healing that smacked you. And I'm thinking, nah, that's not right. Like, I mean, I get it, even at 6 years old, if that's somebody's view, then okay, I respect that. But it became not my view. And I'm thinking, if you have to be smacked as a child by a grown man on a stage in front of an audience to get healed, then I don't want it. And after that, I mean, I ended up not having visitation with him anymore at age 11. I went through a whole bunch of sexual abuse and different stuff with him while I was on the truck with him. But even the abuse would be, the Lord wants me to do this, or the Lord wants you to just lay still, or, like, this is a gift to you from the Lord and he's just using me. So my early childhood was basically Christianity thrown at me in a negative way, but I still grew up learning to respect it, because my grandma, she was a kitchen witch, but she was also very faithful to go into church, and she believed. Oh, kitty, kitty. But it's just like, you take all this stuff being thrown at you as a kid, and you do not understand why. And the only explanation that you are giving is because it's the Lord's will. Well, as you start growing up and you are able to be around other people and realize, oh, well, this person goes to this church and this person goes to this church and this one's Baptist and this one is, oh my God, everybody's going crazy behind me. Um, this person goes to church, but they also have these views. Well, then what's another view? And so I started getting into, like, Wicca, and I'm on a live. Started getting into, like, Wicca and a whole bunch of other things that I can't say really led me to where I was, but it opened up the door so that I could get to what was right for me, if that makes sense at all. So yeah, Christianity, I respect it. I love the Christians that's in my life, but it's just not something that's for me. And Alice has another question. Please forgive me if I sound dumb for asking. Is the 11 satanic rules on the earth something that you follow?
Yeah. It's not like it's not like commandments or anything. It's like it's basic human principles and things like that. So I mean, yeah, it definitely makes sense to follow them. Now, like if you don't, are you gonna be like doomed to heaven? No.
Yeah, I actually have them written down here in case anybody else wants to know what they are. Number one is do not give opinions or advice unless you are asked. Two, do not tell your troubles to others unless you are sure they want to hear them. Three, when in another's lair, show him respect or else do not go there. Four, if a guest in your lair annoys you, treat him cruelly and without mercy. And no, that does not mean go and, unalive him or something.
It doesn't mean shoot him. It just means, if he's in your space and treating your space,
exactly.
disrespectfully, then you have the right to do as you please to get him out.
Exactly. And then number 5, do not make sexual advances unless you are given the mating signal. 6,
don't rape.
Yes, exactly. Do not take that which does not belong to you unless it is a burden to the other person and he cries out to be relieved. Number 7, acknowledge the power of magic if you have employed it successfully to obtain your desires. If you deny the power of magic after having called upon it with success, you will lose all that you have obtained. And that right there, I mean, yeah, this one is based on magic, but just in everyday life, it's like, if you receive, a kind word from another person or something, like acknowledge it. This one's just about acknowledging, the good things in your life, basically. And number 8, do not complain about anything to which you need not subject yourself. 9, do no harm to little children. We don't eat them. 10, do not kill non-human animals unless you are attacked or for food. And then number 11, when walking in open territory, bother no one. If someone bothers you, ask him to stop. If he does not stop, destroy him.
And I want to emphasize on that destroy him part. All that means is, like, let's say somebody is coming up to you and going, hey, you're a bitch, or hey, you're this or that. Then unless they attack you, don't attack them. But if they're, insulting you, then insult them 10 times more.
Exactly. And I mean, it's just basically the everyday human societal version of don't throw the first punch, but if they do, lay them out. I mean, it's everywhere. Every religion, every society, every culture basically has that. So it doesn't mean, just go after them and look for harm to be done.
Or just because you don't like them, it doesn't mean go up and beat the shit out of them. It just means literally treat them like they treat you.
You're very welcome, Alice. And, as you had said up there is no dumb question. You can feel free to ask anything. We both are very open. And neither one of us will, push it off onto somebody else. But somebody that comes with true questions, neither one of us have a problem with answering it. Even if our views may be just a little bit different, it's basically about the same thing, honestly. Me and him, we get along pretty well.
Yeah, we do.
And then the 7 fundamental tenets of Satanism. Number 1, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. 2, the struggle for justice is ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. 3, one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. 4, the freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of others is to forego one's own. Number 5, beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's belief. 6, people are fallible. If one makes a mistake, you should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. 7. Every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. So, yeah, that was that. And then the 9 satanic sins. Number 1 is stupidity. Number 2 is pretentiousness. 3 is, I can't read my own writing. Solipsism. Okay.
Solipsism.
Yeah. Number 4 is self deceit. 5 is herd conformity. And 6 is lack of perspective. And I know I have another page somewhere. 7, forgetfulness of post orthodoxies. 8, counterproductive pride. And 9, lack of aesthetics.
Yep. And we see a lot of number 1 in just everyday life.
Yes, we do. Everywhere we go. She wants you to explain briefly on Anton LaVey, please and thank you.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. He, at the beginning, before he created the Church of Satan, he was a crime photographer, and also he worked in the circus. He was a wild animal tamer, which he also had a pet lion in his house, the Black House, which is no longer in existence anymore, sadly. Then 1966, he declared that was Anno Satanis, which is year 1 of the Age of Satan. And then he would hold, I think it was every Friday night, he would hold the Magic Circle, which was a bunch of people who were interested in his ideas, and which eventually became the Church of Satan. So 1969, to make it an official codified religion, he published the Satanic Bible, followed by a multitude of other books and, music, like the Satanic Mass, which is basically the Black Mass. And he did a number of compositions outside of that, and he didn't do a whole lot of interviews, but he did. Let's see, what was one? Satanis, the Devil's Mass, which was a DVD or a movie, and then I think there was one called Satan Speaks, which is also a book.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, which I have and I've read. It's fantastic.
I used to have it, but it got stolen.
Oh, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also, let's see, he died in 97, which was unfortunate. But he did a lot of codifying for Satanism, and really brought it out of the proverbial shadow, so to speak. And that's why, because of him and because of his works, we're now able to study and then base our own beliefs off of whatever.
Exactly. And that's it. We get to base our own beliefs off of what we believe, what comes to us to, decide what's wrong or right. Satanism isn't about just believing in the devil and expecting to go to hell. He's shaking his head over here. But yeah, it's just, there's a lot more to it. And hopefully some of this has shown that there is a good side to Satanism. It's not what you see on TV. And, we don't even base our stuff off of what you hear in church. Like, you hear something about us in church, it's not like we're going to go out and perch up under a tree and do a ritual because somebody said that we should do it.
Yeah, I agree. And what's crazy too is like I get this all the time that like people send me comments or messages or whatever and tell me that oh, Jesus loves you, and I'm like, oh really? Because if he did, if he was real for one, and he did, then why would he have let me and millions of others go through the hell that we did as kids?
Exactly. All the sexual abuse, the hungry children, that was something early on that I couldn't comprehend either. Okay, what are some names of the satanic books? I'm going to drop them here in chat. I got the Satanic Bible.
Let's see, the Satanic Witch, the Devil's Notebook, Satan Speaks, which we were just talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's also the Satanic Rituals book, which that's more like if you're practicing, ritual, it kind of gives you like the guidelines of, if you're doing it in a group session, like what everybody should do, who's going to do what, and, but it doesn't mean like, if you're doing one by yourself, that doesn't mean that you have to specifically dress in all black or do this or do that. You just, you make it your own. That's what it is. It's about you. It's centered on you.
The dressing in black and all that, that's a whole other community. I mean, they can be Satanists. That community can have different religions. Yeah. But yeah, the whole perceived notion of, oh my God, you're a Satanist because you have a black trench coat. Like, no.
Yep. I mean, hey, I wear black all the time just because I like the color black and, it just suits me.
So do I. I wear black mostly because when I'm at work, I can bitch and complain about not wanting to use bleach because of my asthma, but I'm like super dramatic about it. So I'm like, I can't use it today. I'm in black. And they haven't figured it out yet, but it's just one of those things.
And see, like for me, I'm also somebody who, and thankfully my wife accepts that, I'm somebody who wears black nail polish and stuff just because I like it, and
so do I.
Why not?
I go between black and then like half black and half red.
Oh, there you go.
But a lot of that is just literally to piss my boss off too. It's like my hair; it's dyed purple right now, basically to piss my boss off. Like there's a lot of things, because I noticed that when I actually dress differently, he comes into town more often. So when I go in all black with my black nail polish and my hair colored and stuff like that, he stays in Texas for longer periods of time. So it's one of those self-gratifying things.
Yeah, maybe he just senses, he's like, oh shit, Daniel changed again.
Exactly. He asked me the other day how many costumes I own. I was like, you don't want to know, dude. I have one for every hour of the day.
Yeah. Like for me, like I'm just somebody who, if I feel comfortable in it, I'm going to wear it. Like I do, personally, I do enjoy the gothic look, but that has nothing to do with Satanism. That's just because that's been me for, I don't know how long.
Exactly.
And other than the fact that I cut my hair, I used to have hair down to my chest, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's one thing though. It bothers me too, because like you can walk up to a man in a tuxedo or a woman in a dress suit or something and automatically think that they're a good person, they're a Christian or whatever. But if either one of those two described individuals says, oh, but I'm a Satanist, it's like the whole view of them goes downhill and it no longer matters what they're wearing.
Exactly. And it's crazy, and a lot of these people will never tell their names just because it could ruin their careers. But there's people that are overseas and serving in the army that are Satanists. There's people that are police officers, good people.
Yep.
They just are Satanists, and if people found that out, then here comes the whole satanic panic again.
Exactly. And here in this town, we actually do have a Satanist that is on the police force. I was talking to him about 4 days ago, I think it was now. And he asked me, he's like, how are you so open in this town? I'm like, I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, he was in uniform. He had his pendant and stuff on. It was on his chain underneath his, uniform and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, if that's who you are, wear it with pride. Like,
right.
Yeah, you might get a pay cut, but it is what it is. But I mean,
like me, I wear my Baphomet all the time, or my ring.
I usually have mine on me. I do mod for some other channels and stuff, and I know that there is a mix of religions that go into it. So, I mean, obviously, just modding from this side of the computer, it's whatever. But if I go onto their lives and stuff, I always tuck it under my shirt or whatever. And just out of respect, I mean, it's not hiding who I am or me being ashamed of who I am. It's just, if we're here to discuss this true crime case and you're going to be focused on what's around my neck, then that's not bringing justice to that case.
Exactly. And, like you said, it's just a respect thing. Like, we could all come, like you and I could come together in like a Christian community, them not know anything about us, and we may have certain topics, not necessarily biblically related, but I'll agree, and then they find out, oh, you guys are Satanists. What the hell?
Exactly. I've had that happen to me too. Like this one little lady, she's a regular up there at the store. She come in and she was quoting some Bible verses, and this one guy in the back, he's like, I don't want to hear this shit. And I'm like, dude, just let the lady, like, she's like 80 years old. Like, she's literally earned the right to speak her mind, no matter what it's about. Like, come on. And she had misspoke one of the verses. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, can I ask you a question? I'm like, I'm not familiar with it worded that way. Like, I know it on this other thing, which I'm not going to get into on here, but. And she's like, oh, no, honey, I just misspoke myself because it makes more sense to me that way. I'm like, okay.
I had funny story, actually. I was up in Grove City a couple years ago, actually. And I had my white and black Baphomet on, and I usually wear that like if I'm doing a wedding because to me that it just goes better with my priest uniform. But
oh, yeah, I feel you.
Right, but she saw it and she was like, "Oh, that is so cool. What is that?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I can tell you, but I don't know how you're gonna feel about it." And she's like, "Oh, what is it?" I said, "It's a satanic symbol." She's like, "Oh, I pictured a lot worse than that." I was like, "No," and I told her what everything meant on it, and she was like, "Oh, that's very interesting." I said, well, at least you had the open mind to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Asking is always the best way to go about it. It's the most respectful. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people just being bashed over random stuff. And another thing that bothers me, which is a bit off topic. Hi, Betty. But is when somebody is just like assuming that because you wear like shit, what's it called? Those earring things that open up your ears.
Gauges?
Yes. I had one person come into the store the other day and insisting like big ass drama in the middle of the store that a guy that had gauges in his ears, they were opened so that little demons could set in the holes and tell him the bad things to do.
Oh my god.
Legit. It was like 30-minute topic in the store. We finally had to just like rush him out of there, but yeah. So people will
See,
literally take anything and everything and turn it satanic, no matter what it is.
yeah, you know why? Because the devil's one of the best sellers.
Exactly.
And if you think about it, I don't care what anybody says, like, you know, Christian or not. I think they mention him so much because consciously they're intrigued. Subconsciously, they have to go along with what, you know, their book in church says. So they're like, well, I can't be open about this, but I'm curious. That's why they like talking to us.
Exactly. And I mean, I get that. Like, I totally respect that. Like, I have a couple of Christian friends around here. Well, not here, but they're like in Texas. But I talk to them all the time, and they are always asking me questions, and I know that they're not going to change their faith. Like, they know that asking me the questions isn't going to just make me assume, oh, you're jumping on the devil bandwagon. They can ask me openly and honestly. And one was talking to me, and she told me that something I had mentioned, which honestly I have no idea what it was that I had mentioned, she had brung up in church, and she wanted them to explain something to her, and the only explanation that they could give her was that they wanted to do a baptism on her. That was it.
Because of something she asked?
Because of something she asked.
Oh, okay. So this is the way I see it. So logic and reason go out the door, and they say, well, because you don't necessarily, or because you question this, we need to now dunk you in a pool of what we call holy water.
Exactly. And I mean,
Okay,
that's
that
not right.
sense.
Like, I told her, I'm like, man, if I was down there, I would so go into that church and then let you ask them. And then when they tell you that again, I would stand up and actually give you the Christian answer to it. Like, it doesn't have to be the satanic answer. I can give you the Christian answer to it. But at least I would answer your question.
Oh, and I had a thing. I was actually telling my wife this the other day. We were joking about it. I always wanted to go in a church, and I wanted to put a black bath bomb in my pocket and then get baptized.
Yep. That would be awesome. One of
just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, one of the little black bath bombs. That way the water turns. Yeah, I can see that happening.
And then I would start like pretending like I was convulsing, and like how they do with Benny Hinn when he beats the hell out of them and knocks them out. They start convulsing like the Holy Ghost. I'm like, no. I think they're having seizures.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Betty. Here, basically, this live was done because every religion or spiritualness or anti-religion, we can all get along and we can literally discuss religion without bashing each other. Like, everybody can expect for somebody to have a different view, and you never know what religion has your same views. They're just kind of hiding it. So, like, that's like basically the whole thing. And because I was called a cannibalistic Satanist the other day.
That is ridiculous. You know what? I get told all the freaking time. Like, actually, I got in an argument with this lady on my Facebook. I posted, I forget what it was. It had something to do with like anti-biblical stuff. And she kept saying, well, everybody needs Jesus in their life. And I said, well, no, ma'am, respectfully, everybody does not need to be controlled. And she kept throwing stuff at me. And I was like, can you give me an answer that's not biblically stated? And all she said was, well, Jesus is real. And I said, prove it. And she said, come to church with me. I said, that's no different than me taking you to Disney World and going to the Harry Potter exhibit. That right there's Hogwarts and Diagon Alley.
I've even had a Christian tell me before, Satan is real. And I've told him, prove it to me. I mean, it's legit. Like, everything is based on proof. Like, you cannot have scientific evidence that just totally gets ignored and then claim something that isn't scientific is, and then expect everybody to roll with it.
Exactly. And like I've always said, I think truth is subjective. Nobody can say that, objectively, this is 100% true, because what might be true to me might not be true to you. And what might be true to you might not be true to me. So truth is what you make it. And that, unless it's scientifically proven, or it's, just like, I'll give an example, like of common morals. Like, obviously, you don't harm children, you don't kill somebody unless it's in self-defense and you need to. Things like that. Those are objective. We can all agree on that, unless you're Charles Manson. Then
exactly.
But when it comes to religious views or views about nature, it's objective or subjective, because we don't all agree.
Yeah, and Alice says, that's true. I'm Muslim. I'm glad I am able to ask questions about Satanism without being bashed. That right there is the whole point of this video. It really is. And I am actually even open to doing a live with you about the tenets or the belief of being Muslim, and how, how the struggles with people understanding. Like, I'm open to doing stuff like that too. Like, it's not just Satanism. When we are in these different chats and stuff, it's every religion being bashed. And you've got people bashing Christians just as much as the Satanism. It's ongoing, and there seems to be no end to it. So I'm game. Like, I will have any religion come on here and give them a voice and be like, this is what we believe, this is how we practice. I know with the Muslim community, the prayer hours and stuff like that. Like, I would love to do a live with somebody actually explaining stuff like that, because I personally, what I see on TV, I don't believe. Like, I do have a couple of friends that are Muslim, and we have been out, and they're like, oh, I have to go pray. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to sit over here and play my game or whatever while you go do your thing. And then they come back, and then it's like, go out to lunch or something. So.
Yeah. I mean, I've got friends that are, that believe in, like, not necessarily like Judeo-Christianity, but, they believe in God, and they, all different kinds of stuff like that. I'm like, I mean, that's fine. I'm not here to argue with you. It's like, we can either get along or don't be around me.
Yeah, and then Elizabeth says, it's kind of ridiculous. I'm pagan, but I have friends that are Muslim, Christian, Wiccan, satanic, atheist. Religion shouldn't be an excuse to disgrace or hate someone. And then Wanda, I remember when my stepdad confiscated all of my records, told me I was going to hell for listening to that crap. I looked him in the face and said, I guess I'll see you there. I've said that to quite a few people myself.
Me too. And I always tell people this, that especially, and I'm not, again, anybody in the comments that is Christian, I'm not saying this to rag on you. I'm ragging on the people that ragged on me. I always tell them, it's better to reign in hell than serve in heaven.
Exactly. And, I remember being really young, and young as in like 10 or 11. And my stepdad, the one that was like doing all the crap to me, we seen this homeless man outside. It was like on this dark street we was driving down, and he had like his little campsite thing back off the side of the road. And I asked him what that was about, and he's like, oh, he probably just doesn't have a house. We literally had a bunch of groceries in the back seat of the semi truck, and I'm like, well, can we go give him some food? And he's like, no, we don't trust people like that. But this is a man that would go into church and preach and expect me to get smacked in the head by Benny Hinn. But he wouldn't, give a donut to some guy camping on the side of the road.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Like, here, let this phony televangelist who wants nothing but your money smack the hell out of you, but don't feed this guy.
Exactly. And then I even asked him, oh man, like the worst time I ever got the belt from that man, I asked him why he didn't donate to Betty White instead of the church, because Betty White is my third cousin. And she was always doing the animal funds and stuff like that. And he literally pulled like this wad of money out of his wallet and dunked it in the tray at church. And I'm like, well, why don't you give some of that money to Betty White? And he's like, because the Lord needs it more. Like, really? Isn't he in a gold palace?
Yeah, what does a supposed spiritual being need with earthly money?
Exactly.
He could make it rain hundreds if he wanted to.
Exactly. He could feed the poor if he wanted to. But you know, and nothing that is being said here, disclaimer, you know, nothing that's being said is against anybody that is in this chat or will be watching it. This is just generalized experiences of what like we went through. And still to this day, I hold very much respect for every single religion out there. Like, you do you.
I hold in the same manner. I hold respect for the people that are true to what they believe, but the people that use it to cherry pick and, you know, condemn people for being human, I don't respect them at all.
Exactly. And I think everybody from every religion can look around and be like, you know, that person over there isn't acting all Christian. Or I personally said, that person isn't acting very satanic at the moment. I mean, it's just we can literally look around and see exactly what they're doing, claiming this religion and going against it. And it's crazy.
Like, and I'll even say this, and some people might find this crazy to know that, yes, we Satanists have this in our community as well. I cannot stand the Satanic Temple, and I'll tell you why. Because to me, they are nothing but political activist groups. Now, I'm not saying that some of what they do that I don't agree with, because I do agree with some of what they do.
Same.
But this whole part of like one thing they did in the Hail Satan documentary was they went on this graveyard of somebody from, I think, the Westboro Baptist Church, which I will say, disclaimer, fuck them.
Exactly. I'm 100% on you with that.
Right, and they went to this gravesite and they did what they call, I think, a pink mass, which is a complete mockery. There's only two masses: high mass, black mass, and they did that, and then I think they performed like a gay marriage on there or something like that, and they said they turned this woman's spirit, which they deny in spirits and all that shit, they turned her gay in the afterlife, but yet they deny the afterlife. I'm like, which is it? Is she now a lesbian in the afterlife, or is there no afterlife?
Yeah, number one sin, stupidity. The world is full of it.
And they deny Anton LaVey's works, which if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have their fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you always give credit where credit is due, even if things change over time. You know, you've got your base set there. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can add whatever. Like, if you see a practice in Wicca that you like herbs and stuff like that, if you're a satanic witch, you can use some practices and add them to your practices.
Exactly. Like, it's just all about being yourself and being true. Like, don't sugarcoat the, like, I don't know. You don't have to just follow what people expect of you. Yeah, and that's with any community, any religion, any community, like, at all. Just be you.
Yeah.
Because the right people will accept you. The right people will accept you. The ones that need to be in your life at that time, they will accept you. It doesn't matter your beliefs.
And I think, what's the statement? Do you have the 9 satanic statements up there?
Somewhere.
Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's either number 4 or number 6 that don't waste your love on ingrates.
I have the nine satanic sins, the seven fundamental tenets, and the 11 satanic rules of the earth.
Okay.
Yeah, those are.
Well, one of the, and I don't want to miss, number it or anything like that. But one of the nine satanic statements is do not waste your love on ingrates. So people that could get the damn, don't give them your time.
Exactly. It's all about moving forward, making the day count.
Oh yeah, every day.
People's always going to be out there to try to hold somebody back and tear them down and bash them, and it's all about your own perception of how you want to view it. If you want to let them win, or if you want to just supersede and go on about it, and you know like a lot of the comments, like, I know, and I guess that's what makes it more hilarious to me, is like, I know that they're serious and they're really, really, really trying to take me down, and I just feel like they were put on this earth for entertainment purposes only. And like, what can I say?
Hey, that's how I feel about a lot of it. Like, you see a lot of stupidity running rampant, and to me, that's just sheer entertainment.
Yep, it is. It really is. Like, who needs TV when you got humanity?
Exactly, that's free.
Exactly. It really is. And you never know what's going to come. Like, there is no preview of the next episode. Like, that's what I like about it.
Exactly. Like me, we could be walking in the mall and I'll see a bunch of teenagers acting like fools. And, I'm like, wow, it's a shame to see that the generation that was after me is coming up to be, disrespectful little peasants.
Exactly. It's like I've raised my kids to just do them. Like, they're very respectful. They don't care about beliefs or, how you identify or any of that. They just straight up live life to the fullest, and they hold the right amount of respect, as does your son. Like, your son's like, what, 8? 9. Oh, he turned 9. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, he is the most respectful little guy I think I've ever seen. The youngest one here, he's 14, and it's all about the lazy attitude right now. But he's still very respectful when he's lazy. So, like, pick your battles right.
I know mine. I taught him from an early age, especially respecting like people of same-sex couple, people of different backgrounds, beliefs. Like, obviously, I don't promote racism. I actually hate racism.
Me too.
I told him, I tell him to, like, if there's somebody that for a fact is acting like a fool, like, you don't have to blatantly say, you're an idiot. You can think what you want to think. Just don't associate with that person.
Exactly. Because, I mean, I kind of go back and forth on this. Like, you are who you associate with, and you're not who you associate with. Like, don't define me because of other people. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you're associating with them, then you must be like them. But they don't understand that you may be associating with a person because you're put in their life to help them overcome whatever the idiotic thing is that they're doing at the time. Like, associations are kind of really random, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of people in my life that taught me valuable lessons. Like, I'll give this example: my dad, who was a very abusive alcoholic, and to me and my mother, and he was also a womanizer, which is something I'm very, very against. And I teach my child, whether you grow up liking women or men, it doesn't matter to me at all. You do not use somebody for your purposes and your purposes only. That is wrong.
Exactly. And that's how we should be with all of our kids. Like, just talk to them, just tell them. I mean, because like I do this true crime thing, and like Grizz here, like he's got some amazing stuff done too, and I'm sure he sees a lot of stuff and in all the chats with all the bashing and different stuff like that. And like I had said, when it comes to the true crime community, all the bashing, it's not worth it because it takes away from the case itself. And then when you go into just bashing people in an everyday situation apart from the true crime, it really takes away from the enjoyment that you could personally be living.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, what's the point in living your life with drama?
Exactly.
I know a couple people in my family that they literally thrive off of, oh, did you hear what this bitch did, or whoever, whatever. I'm like, why do you want to live that way? Why not, be a productive citizen and actually get off your ass?
Exactly. I don't know. Sometimes this world makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
But then again, like I kind of think maybe it shouldn't.
Right, but it's like the government's corrupt or something.
It really is. I mean, I've got videos up on different types of the corruption and stuff, and I mean, it's like DOJ documented, corruption and stuff. Like even the Department of Justice sees it going on. So, like on all the videos that I do, like about the corruption and stuff, it's crazy. It really is. Like there's too much. You can't put it all in videos.
No, and I've seen them too, the ones that you've put up. I haven't watched all of them, but I was like, holy shit, these are insane.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like with the West Memphis 3 and, being in prison for like 18 years for being Satanists when they weren't. I mean, maybe they were or whatever, but the crimes that they obviously didn't commit, they were just the little guinea pigs there because of the way they dressed. And that whole case is so full of corruption.
I believe it. I have to ask, were they all goth kids?
Yeah, pretty much.
Typical.
I mean, I'm actually working on a video about them. It'll probably be about next weekend by the time it's because there's so much to it. By the time I actually upload that, but yeah, I'm working on that one and there's a couple of other ones that I won't mention just right now, but that I'm looking at too, which has the whole stereotypical, it has to be a Satanist that committed it crimes. Like I know, and I lost it. I cannot find it again. I will, but there is this one crime that happened down in southwest part of Texas, and there was a right side up cross hanging on a tree that was probably about 15 yards away from where the 3 or 4 little victims were. And the public had went out there, the ones that actually found it, turned that cross upside down before they called the police.
Okay, so they were fabricating it.
Exactly. And I mean, it come out to be later on, like, 18 months later or something, they literally had nothing to do with the crime. So they weren't even trying to cover up like their own, but they literally seen that as they were walking back to, I guess, go up and get signal to make the phone call. And one of them flipped it upside down. So then the police had like this whole thing looking for some occult. And it was literally like a 60-year-old man that lived down the road that had actually killed them. And yeah, and it was just like a dump site.
So, like, yet again, let's blame the Satanists.
Exactly. And Alice says, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, was he really a Satanist?
Hell no.
Nope, he wasn't. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I had seen for him, basically, I mean, he may claim to be a Satanist, but he didn't follow true Satanism. He basically based everything he did off of what he saw on TV.
Yeah, the
That
devil made me do it.
yeah, and I mean it's just like David Berkowitz too. The son, I actually write to him, like I have a letter from him and everything. But he claimed that the dog next door was possessed by a demon and told him to do it. He claims possession, and he never actually claimed to be a Satanist or anything, but I have actually seen some articles where that was kind of suspected that, he too was a Satanist. But now he has his Rise and Shine .org, I think is what it is. Don't quote me on that. Um, Website he's doing from prison, where he gives updates about him and his Christianity and stuff like that now.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's like Tex Watson from the Manson family. He has
Yep.
his own little website and thing that he runs now. Because he got away from the evil and he is now a Christian. Which I mean, more power to him. If he can save lives or whatever, go for it. But it's just funny how pre-trial everybody says, oh, they're satanic or they're a cult or they're pagan or they're this or they're that, and then they go into prison and become a Christian.
Yeah, see, that's what I always found that was weird was like if they do something horrendous, and then all of a sudden, maybe 5, 10 years later or whatever, then you see them with a Bible or a rosary or
Exactly.
I'm like, so really, you're now going to try to convince people that you're not a wicked psycho.
Exactly. I mean, it's like if you're going to have the Bible on you and read from it, then live as you think you should and be an honest person and kind and caring and everything. But don't kill 20 people and then think you're going to be saved. Like, hide behind the shield of the Bible for that. Like, to me, that, I don't know, that's disrespecting Christianity. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Hiding behind the Bible after you've done all of these crimes or whatever is disrespecting the religion.
And I have to say this too. So if anybody comes on here that's a Catholic, I'm not insulting you personally, but I am insulting your church when I say this because it's a fact. The priests in there have a serious issue with children.
Yes, they do.
I don't like that. And I found out through research that it is covered by the Vatican. There's a letter that got leaked that states any molestation cases must be kept within the church, and these quote unquote holy men must be protected at all costs.
Yes, that is actually true. I've looked up statistics and stuff for that as well. And I won't name the town in Mexico, but there is a place down there to where the priests and stuff that has got like more public attention for being pedophiles and stuff, they can actually go down there and serve a time to get their life straight again. But the church that they actually go to start over and become better priests or whatever is also an orphanage for children.
Oh, geez. So they're basically giving them a fucking resort.
Yep. Exactly.
That is horrendous.
And I mean, I'm not going to say the name of the town or anything because I don't want people going down there, on vacation. Let's go raid this place. No. But I mean, it is a really good setup for the kids. Like they do take like amazing care of the kids, and they do find them families, and But it's just like this one place was just picked to send these priests to. And you're like, they are literally on record. They are in public eye of being pedophiles, and you're sending them here. It's crazy.
Right, we'll just send them here, rehab them, and the whole time they're going,
exactly,
altar boy.
Exactly. And out of that one place, I mean, I'm gonna say it's a funny thing. It's not funny as in haha, but the little girls are the ones that always seem to be adopted out at a steady rate, but the boys can just never seem to get picked for a family.
I wonder why.
Your wife's having a fit back there.
Yeah, the damn cats.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling. But yeah. But I'm fixing to have to head up there to go to work. But hopefully this discussion has, helped somebody understand that, what you see on TV is not what we live as Satanists. Like the stuff on TV about Satanists is actually entertaining to us. Like, we find the stupidity in it and all, but it's literally there for our entertainment as much as it is for everybody else. The only thing is, on the outside looking in, everybody thinks it's actually based on reality when we look at the same show and we're like, oh my God, they come up with this. Like, it just, Satanism is not what is portrayed on TV. And every religion should be respected.
I agree.
Yeah. Is there any other questions or anything before I cut this off and go to work? Alice says, thank you. This discussion really helped me understand more about Satanism. I appreciate you both for taking the time to explain. And thank you, Alice, for being here. And everybody for being respectful. And, I'm surprised. I literally did not have to time out anybody. It's amazing. I love my mod button. It's like 300 seconds timed out. But yeah, I'll give it a second and see if any other questions pop up. But I gotta.
That's all good. They can. Yeah, they can. If they have any questions too, they can go to Discover Satanism on Facebook. It's got the same logo as in the chats, and you can talk to me personally.
I will post or actually after this video over here posts completely. If you can go in and put your link in the comments to your channel, both of them to the YouTube channel, and then make another comment for your Facebook page. That would be great. So it will be there. And as always, if anybody has any questions or anything, you can always leave it in the comments, and me or he will see it one way or another. Grizz says we need to link up and do a video. Good one. Yes, Grizz, totally. But you know what, man? It's going to be on your channel, and you get to do the inviting because this has been complete hell for me. Like when it's not live, I can see everything, and it goes live, and I literally get into stream. That's it. In stream and chat. I can't even pop up avatar or anything. Like, I don't know if it's a YouTube update or something, but oh my God, it's drove me crazy.
It's for YouTube.
Yeah, but yeah, you can get with me. I'm game. And I guess I'll call it a night here because, my boss has already messaged me like 30 times. I was supposed to be there 52 minutes ago. Yeah, he needs me. He ain't gonna fire my ass. But
this is until he can hold it.
Yeah, exactly. This is more important. But yeah, seriously, I don't want to end work tonight at 10 o'clock, so I do have to get there eventually. But yeah, like I said, thank you everybody for being respectful in chat and not bashing anybody that does not have your view. As people in chat have said, they are from different religions. Very, very good. That's what I like to see. And if there is any questions that arise, you can always comment, and one of us will see it and answer it. But any last words?
Other than like what said, just thank you to the people that are, about it and not trying to, like, quote unquote, correct us for, not knowing the truth. And, just thanks for asking rather than just,
Yeah.
bashing.
Asking instead of assuming.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. I will talk to y'all later, and I will try to get a couple of videos uploaded, like about the West Memphis 3 and stuff that kind of relates to what we was talking about here. So, see y'all later.